But let's start at Old Trafford. Now, let's try to just sum up where we are.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole bunch of boring procedural steps that they have to go through before things become official. So all we know that's kind of 100% official is Richard Arnold is stepping down as chief executive.
That's right.
We also know that Jim Ratcliffe has an agreement in principle to pay 1.25 billion, something like that, to take over 25% of the club.
Yeah.
That's what we know kind of for certain. There's suggestions there might be an announcement that the deal has gone through next week. Certainly viewed from the outside, based on what we've been told as well, Richard Arnold would not be stepping down if Jim Ratcliffe were not taking a big chunk of the club. We also think, or at least I think you agree, Jules, that Jim Ratcliffe isn't going to go at his age and spend 1.25 billion just to say, hey, Glazers, here, go, run with it. You guys make all the decisions at the club. So I think clearly he has worked in that he is going to have some significant amount of say in naming the new chief executive who's going to replace Richard Arnold, presumably the new head of recruitment, if we think there will be one. Well, Paul Mitchell's been mentioned. We'll get to that. And maybe even, I would suspect, some sort of escalator where over time he can buy out shares in the other Glazer siblings, maybe even the Glazers themselves, and take total control of the club. This is what we think is possible.
Total control, maybe, although at his age, as you said, he's over 70 now. He might not have the time, the energy, I don't know. Certainly has the money, but maybe not the rest. But he would be hands-on, that's for sure. We know that's what we're being briefed. Everybody's being briefed the same anyway. Hands-on also to refurbish the stadium, or certainly to put money in towards refurbishment of the stadium, of Carrington training grounds, of all of that. So that's why I see it as this should be very good news for all Manchester United fans. It should be an exciting time, not just because you finally get rid of the Ed Woodward and his twin Richard Arnold partnership to run this club on a daily basis. And I'm not saying that whoever comes next is going to do a better job, but I just hope that they do, and it would be hard not to. And then also because sporting-wise, this is in a way a new dawn in the sense, certainly, of finally you would expect a structure in place that is actually like all the other top clubs in Europe.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. And to me, when I look back over the last 10 years of underachievement, right, after Sir Alex left, there's one common thread, which to me is the fact that this club did not have a director of football until very recently, until John Murta was appointed. And even once he was appointed, this is a club whose recruitment has always been manager-driven. Manager wants him, whether it's Van Gaal or whether it's Mourinho or whether it's Solskjaer or whether it's Davy Moyes. Rangnick didn't really get what he wanted, but whatever. It's always been manager-led. And I'm sorry, there is a reason why I think in every organized professional team sport in the world, managers, the people who coach, aren't the ones making or driving the recruitment. You take into account what they said.
Yeah.
But there is somebody else there who has an expertise in recruitment, who has an expertise in negotiations, and who has the club's medium to long-term future at heart more than a manager, because managers are going to be judged on short-term results. And I think this is one of the things that really hurt United over the years, that they were like, oh, look, how do we support Van Gaal? Well, let's say yes to everything Van Gaal wants. Let's say yes to everything Mourinho wants. Let's say yes to everything Moyes wants. That's not good for the club. It's probably not good for them either. And I think Ten Hag is the ultimate example here, right? Because they end up, Ten Hag's knowledge of players will necessarily be limited because he's always worked with a director of football before. And so you end up signing all these guys from the Dutch league who he already knows, overpaying for them in many cases. And if I were a United fan, I would want to see a really empowered head of recruitment sporting director.
I think you need to find a middle ground though, because as we've seen, some sporting director of football also not always sign good players, great players that fit the profile that you want or play the football that you want either. So I think that's the middle ground. But so far, there was never that conversation anywhere because, like you said, Ten Hag, his son, his agent, Kees Vos were doing what they wanted at the club.